Barclays Bank says half the long-term bonuses awarded to its two top executives will be subject to the bank hitting profitability targets, following resistance to its pay plan from investors. Bonuses for 2011 for Chief Executive Bob Diamond and Finance Director Chris Lucas are due to pay out in shares over 3 years, but under the new condition, half of their awards will not be paid out unless certain criteria are met under a formula known as the return on equity. The bank has described them as real and stretching targets. Well, let's speak to Chris Roebuck, who's an international banking expert, for more on this. Hello there, Chris.
Hi.
So do you think this will go some way to calm the dissent, because there's been real fury over the pay and bonus packages for the top execs, haven't there?
Yes, I think if we consider what happened in the US on Tuesday with the shareholders at Citigroup failing to endorse the executive remuneration over there, hopefully we're beginning to see a trend where the shareholders are taking a more proactive view and insisting that senior leaders actually do return a good value for money for the bank, and that also sends a good signal for both employees in the bank, that the people at the top are being held to account just as much as they are on their bonuses, and even more that actually you aren't guaranteed that you're going to get all of your bonus, you have to earn it.
How easy will it be to meet these new criteria? Are they really stretching targets, as the bank says?
If you look at the figures, the figures for the current sort of cost of equity is about 11.6%, and the return on equity is down at 6%. So they've got to go quite well to actually get to that point. And I think this is the key thing. We're beginning to establish that principle that if you have a bonus, one, most of it is in deferred shares that you can't get your hands on for 3 years, which means you have to think long term and you have to think about helping the organisation as a whole perform. And also that within that context, those challenging targets mean you might not get it all anyway.
How does this new scheme that Barclays is introducing for its top execs compare to others at other banks?
At other banks, they have all moved on to the concept of having the shares spread over 3 years, because that's a condition of some of the new regulations that are coming in through Basel and through the EU. But what we're beginning to see here is we're beginning to see very, very specific targets that pin down senior leaders to producing specific figures that are quite challenging. And I think the moral of the story is that that's what shareholders are going to expect much more in the future, and that, to be clear, this should not just apply to banking. This should apply to senior executives and corporate leaders in all industries across the board, and not just in this country.
OK, Chris Roebuck, thanks very much
Thank you.
for talking to us.